Before you give up on your marriage, I want you to ask yourself one uncomfortable question. Have you actually tried to change the marriage? Or have you spent years trying to change your spouse? Because when a marriage starts falling apart, most people actually do more of what's already not working rather than addressing it in a way that will get your marriage to thrive. Perhaps you have tried to argue more or harder, or you've tried to explain yourself more, or you withdrew, or you started to criticize your significant other, or you ended up just keeping score. And perhaps sometimes you even may have threatened divorce. But those are not constructive ways to actually address conflict. And my hope is that in this video, you're going to see that there are many different things that you can do to help establish a different type of relationship, type of marriage, and one in which you guys can both find fulfillment. I've worked with many people who've tried to desperately convince their significant other to become someone else, someone different. It's so easy. It's part of our human nature to want to do that. And after months or even years of trying to do this, they just simply said, okay, we've tried everything, nothing has worked. But do you really feel like you have tried everything? Did you really get the support that you need? Did you really get a new perspective and new tools to be able to break out of the cycle that you have been engaged in, sometimes for months, sometimes for years? Or have you been repeating the perhaps different versions or different elements of the same approach over and over and over and over again? I'm asking you this question not to judge, but because I want to make sure that before you make a life-altering decision, that you've actually done everything that you could to try to engage with your significant other in a new way and to rebuild your marriage on a healthier foundation. And I want to make sure that you've at least tried these 5 things that I'm going to share with you today so that you can perhaps get a different perspective on what is possible. I do not believe that every marriage can or should be saved, but I do believe that many marriages that should and can be saved simply get tossed aside because people don't have the tools. And I definitely don't want you to be one of them. And I've seen these 5 things really help couples to understand if this was still something that was worth fighting for and rebuilding the right way, or if they had kind of just, the marriage had run its course and they needed to find a way to uncouple and to move in a different direction without triggering each other more than they already had. As you may know, my name is Coach Adrian. This is Committed, and we are committed to helping couples grow together through the various seasons of marriage. So I would like to start with my first suggestion to you. And we touched on this already. You need to stop trying to change your spouse. And for most people, that sounds counterintuitive. It sounded counterintuitive to me. And perhaps my wife would tell you that sometimes, perhaps I still try to change her. But the truth is that that is not the way to go about rebuilding healthy love. And most people can probably make a list of things that they wish their spouse would change. Perhaps you wish that they communicated differently, or perhaps you wish that they weren't as emotionally distant, or perhaps you feel like they don't help enough around the house, or perhaps you don't simply feel appreciated enough. But here's the problem. You cannot control any of those things. The only person whose behavior you have direct control over is you. So instead of asking, how do I get my spouse to change? You should be asking yourself, what can I change about the way that I show up in this marriage? And I'm not blaming you. I'm not trying to tell you that it's all your fault. but a shift in mindset can drastically shift the dynamics of your marriage. So ask yourself, how do I speak when I'm hurt? Do I really truly listen? Or am I already preparing my defense and my counter argument? Do I criticize? Do I withdraw? Do I punish my spouse emotionally? Most of us have done some of these things. So it is, again, not to judge you, but simply to help you raise your awareness and your understanding. And here's another very difficult, challenging question. What would your spouse say that it is like to be with you, to be married to you? If you were to ask them right now, what would their experience be like? And I'm only asking you this question so that you can develop the emotional IQ to put yourself in their shoes and to see the relationship, the marriage from their perspective. I'm not trying to have you take all the blame. I'm simply trying to help you to take responsibility for the things that you can control. The more you do that, the more you will be able to reclaim your ability to influence how the relationship and the marriage continues to evolve. Second, I really want you to figure out what it is that you're really fighting about. Because most couples are very good at articulating what they argue about. Perhaps it's money issues or sex or housework, things that need to happen, or the way that you parent, or perhaps it's phones and phone usage, or perhaps it's in-laws. But oftentimes, those are not actually the real problems. The argument about housework may actually mean that one of you feels like they're carrying the family alone. The argument about sex might actually mean that one of you doesn't feel wanted anymore. The argument about your phone may really mean, I actually don't feel important to you because you're on your phone all the time. So you see, the next time that you find yourself having the same argument that you've had 50 times, 100 times, stop and ask yourself and your significant other, what is the pain that is happening underneath this argument? Because until you take the time to understand that pain, you may spend years trying to solve the wrong problem. Or you may feel like my marriage has run its course, when in reality you're looking at surface level stuff and not the root cause of the issue. You need to also, number 3, seek to have a conversation where nobody is trying to win. And I truly want you to try this. Sit down with your significant other and ask the question, what has been the hardest thing for you lately about our marriage? What is most challenging for you? And you're not doing this to respond and then to point fingers and to tell them off. You're doing it to truly listen, not to defend yourself, not to correct their version of reality or how things played out. I don't want you to try to explain why they are wrong. No. I don't want you to tell them immediately everything that you've been thinking as they're talking. Just listen. And when they're done, you can ask them as a follow-up question, what do you need more from me? What do you need more from me? How can I show up for you? And then you can switch. You can also articulate what's been more difficult and what you need more of. But at least you're on the same team. You're fighting the good fight together. It's not a you problem. It's a we problem. And of course, this can be incredibly difficult because you have to be vulnerable. And some things that will be shared may feel unfair. And your instinct is going to be to defend yourself. But remember, understanding your spouse doesn't mean that you agree with everything that they believe and everything that they have to say. It just simply means that you're becoming willing to see the marriage through their eyes. And this is what I want for you. Because sometimes feeling understood can soften years of defensiveness and resentment. That's what I want for you and your significant other to feel understood by each other. It will resolve a lot. Number 4, I want you to stop trying to fix everything all at once. If you've been struggling in your relationship for 10 years, you're not going to repair it in one conversation. Let's be very clear. So instead of making 20 promises, just choose one thing that you want to focus on, that you want to work on. And maybe you can spend 15 minutes talking about it, phones away, no distraction, kids give you the space that you need to talk about this one thing that's very important to the both of you. And when you do that, perhaps the next day you can start to appreciate or to express what it is that has changed, what it is that you see, the efforts that you're both making, because we want to nurture positivity. And it should lead to a different set of actions, right? It's not just a theoretical conversation. Perhaps it will lead to you dividing household responsibilities differently. Or maybe you'll choose to take a walk together on a regular basis to be able to address some of these challenges together and to check in with each other, to reflect together. Maybe you simply need to agree not to have arguments when things are heated or when one feels hurt and then likely to try to threaten or insult or, demean the other person. Just choose one small step that you can take together, make it very specific, and then act consistently together. That's how strong marriages are built. They're transformed not just through one enormous breakthrough, it's actually rebuilt through small choices, repeatedly and consistently applied in our day-to-day, small moments. Which leads me to the last, but perhaps one of the most important points. You need to find out whether there is still willingness after all the hurt, after all the arguments, and everything that you've been through. You need to ask yourself, are we still willing to do something different? Are we still really trying to come and be there for one another to build a different type of relationship or marriage? I'm not asking if you're both still madly in love right now, because the answer is probably no. And I'm not asking if all the problems have disappeared all at once. I'm asking if there's still a willingness to listen, a willingness to change, a willingness to take responsibility, a willingness to forgive, a willingness to seek help, a willingness to keep learning about each other. Because if there is a willingness, no matter what you may be struggling with, when two people are willing to make an effort, new possibilities open up. And I am here and I stand ready to support you through private coaching, individually or collectively, whatever you feel would be helpful. So before you give up on your marriage, ask yourself, do I still feel the way that I used to? But go beyond that as well and truly ask the important questions. Are we willing to become the people that this next season of our marriage requires us to become? Because maybe the goal isn't to recreate the marriage that you once had. You've changed, you've evolved as people. New challenges perhaps have emerged. Your spouse has changed. Your lives have changed. So what you need to build now together may be something different than what worked for you in the past. So remember that sometimes saving your marriage isn't about finding your way back to each other. It's about learning how to move forward together. That is what it means to be committed. And I'm so grateful to be your coach. And I love to come once a week, do these lives, and answer your questions. And know that you can ask whatever question you have, whatever is on your heart, whatever is on your mind, whatever it is that you're struggling with, individually or as a couple. Feel free to leave your comments, your questions in the comment section below. I will soon have a form where you can also submit your questions in privacy if this is something that you want to do. And I wanted to acknowledge one question that came from a gentleman who just a few days ago, who said, I want to speak up but I feel like I make things worse with my emotions. My girlfriend leans towards connection, but I want to feel that I want her to feel that I care, but sometimes my silence is perceived as me not trying or me not putting in effort. And I'm afraid to have any regrets if I do share. So we've argued the last couple of days and things got heated, and I feel like we need space to let things calm down. But at the same time, she wants things to get resolved right away. So I've seen this in many different relationships, all different age ranges. Sometimes people have different ways of processing challenges. Some people want to repair right away, to talk about things. And many times women like to articulate and to process as they're trying to solve an issue or sort through a challenge. Whereas men can have a tendency to perhaps retreat into our cage or our cave, I should say. And we're not ready to have that conversation right away. And we feel attacked, threatened, triggered when our significant other just wants to sort things out right away. The key is to make sure that you're able to communicate, to articulate to your significant other, I care about you. I would like for us to solve this, and I'm so grateful that you want us to repair. I need a few hours to process so that we can come together and sort this out together on the same team so that we're not arguing and fighting with one another. Don't just retreat without articulating this, especially you, who was kind enough to share your concerns with me, because it may feel like you are actually stonewalling, and it may trigger her to trigger you in a different way. Ultimately, you guys need to come together, talk together, and make sure that you create a safe enough space where you can get to the bottom of the issue and address it as such. And I'm here and I stand ready to provide you with coaching in order to help you heal those wounds so that your love and your marriage can continue to flourish. Thank you for your trust. I'm so glad to be your coach, and I look forward to continuing to support you and your significant other through this committed platform. Take good care and see you soon.